there were so many questions that I was like, dang, this is actually more intense than dental school. Like, there's a lot going into this.
You look at somebody like Michael Jordan, he practiced the basics and the skills, and he shot after shot and dribble. And so, you've got to learn the basics. You've got to love it enough. You've got to want it enough.
I can see why you and Dr. Berger get along so well, because that's like, you should listen to our first podcast, because we went into this whole mentality thing. It was really, really good. To another episode of Full Arch Advantage. I'm your host, Gary Bird. I am the CEO of SMC National. We provide predictable new patient flow for offices just like yours. And I live an awesome life because I get to do awesome things every single day. And today I get to interview Dr. Lynch and Dr. Berger. I wanted just really quickly, could you guys, I'll start with you, Dr. Berger, because I'm most familiar with you. We've actually done a podcast before, Mamba Mentality, and it was actually a pretty popular episode. I would love for you just to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about where you're at, where you practice, and then Dr. Jeff, if you could chime in after him.
Yeah, well, I'm practicing an hour south of Tampa in Bradenton, Florida. Our practice sees all types of patients, and in the practice now, I've kind of transitioned to where I'm taking care of patients that are at their terminal stage of dentition, man. They're ready for a restart with their teeth. So we're doing smile makeovers and full arch implant cases. I have a team that's pretty large, but I work solely with about 5 of them to be able to get those patients taken care of. And I do it 4 days a week. And when I am not at the office on Fridays, I'm teaching classes, going to classes. And today specifically, I'm actually with Jeff at his office. He's sitting next to me, and I'm shadowing him. It's my first time actually shadowing another dentist doing the stuff that I want to do more of. So I hope that gives a little bit more about who I am and what I'm trying to accomplish here.
That's awesome. And if you want to hear Dr. Berger's full story, we go through that in the last podcast on dental marketing theory. And he started as a barber doing an NFL teams, cutting hair for NFL teams, to all the way to being a dentist. Very inspirational. And then his mentor, Dr. Jeff Lynch, share a little bit about where you're at and what you're doing.
I'm located in McKinney, Texas, which is a suburb of Dallas. I'm about 30 miles north of Dallas.
Sorry to disrupt the show, but I got something crazy to share with you. We are attempting to connect with all of our listeners. We have thousands of people that listen to this podcast, and we want to meet you in person. We have 4 events coming up, and I want to give you a discount code that you can use for the next week to save $300 off your ticket. The discount code is Gary Bird, and the link is going to be just down below. You can also go to smcnational.com/events. I hope to connect with you in person and help each other grow our businesses. Can't wait to see you soon.
I'm the senior director and co-founder of Esteem Dental Implants, which is the full arch brand within Heartland Dental. I'm also the leader of McKinney Dentist. We're a 5-doctor group practice that we specialize in everything. We're not specialists, but we're able to offer our patients all different services under one roof. Our philosophy is to be able to say yes to everybody with whatever it is they need to have done. I'm fortunate and blessed to have great partners, and we have an amazing, very large team. We have 65 women here helping us out, and that's required some additional skills that we didn't learn in dental school, but it's made us better people as a result of it. So I started Esteem about 3 years ago as our local full arch brand within Heartland. And we've been slowly building the brand, and been fortunate to work with guys like Jake, who are absolute sponges for learning and knowledge. And it's just being able to spread this skill and this talent and the ability to change people's lives. It's given everybody on my team and myself a new appreciation for what we do, and we love coming to work every day because it's not really work.
That's awesome. That's how I feel too. I get to every day do cool stuff like this and talk to awesome people like you guys. And what I'm most interested in, and what I've seen probably people fail the most, is that they'll have a general dentistry practice where they're doing a lot of different work, and then they say, "Man, I want to pick up a new skill." So they go out, they pick up that new skill, and then they want to bring in all in 4 into their practice. and they hit a lot of roadblocks because there's a lot of things that have to happen. It's not as easy just throwing it in there. So Dr. Jeff, we'll start with you since you've been doing it the longest. How did you integrate Esteem dental implants into your practice?
Well, I started placing implants back in 2008. My friend Bruce Baird encouraged me to add that into the mix, and so I went and I trained with Carl Misch up in Detroit. And year by year, my goal had always been, let's have implants be a little bit bigger percentage of everything I'm doing. I've always been a pretty high volume practice, and I've done a lot of different things. And as we continue down that road, I'm a very goal focused person. So I kept increasing the number of implants I've done, and I really focused on the basics of both clinical and operational and the business aspects of things, trying to make sure that those key things that you need to do to be successful in business were in place. So what were those? So because here, I'll give you an example. I see people running into trouble all the time. Let's add full arch, and they don't train the front desk on how to answer the phone. So no one actually makes it in because people call and ask hard questions about full arch, right? Or they don't train the internal staff aren't trained on how to schedule them properly, or the dental assistants aren't trained to be able to support the dentist properly. So what are those key things that you see that people have to be able to start implementing full arch into their practices? Without a question, the most important thing is that you have to be a strong leader. I see lots of people that want to do this and they want things to just happen. But the reality is in my mind, a leader is somebody that has to have a clear vision of what things are going to look like. They've got to be able to pass that vision along to their team. And then they've got to enable them to do what's needed to be done to accomplish that vision. Micromanagers will not succeed. Poor leaders will not succeed. You've got to be able to give them the tools, both from an educational standpoint, the freedom to make mistakes, and then be able to learn from those mistakes, and not be afraid. You have to be somewhat of a risk taker, within reason, but you can't be afraid to fail, because that's where you're going to learn the most things is doing new stuff, figuring out what worked, what didn't work, and then you just continue to modify what you're doing in your systems until things start to click.
Got it. Dr. Berger, so walk me through how you added your first maybe like 5 or 6 implant cases. How did you work that into your office and what you were doing?
So when I first did it, I actually restored a case that I didn't do the surgery on. And restoring the case had so many headaches because I didn't know the verbiage. I didn't know the definition. What's an MUA? How many MUAs do I need to buy? Why does the lab need to come into the office? So there was a lot of question around it. My second case, I was real intimidated by getting it started. And then I just linked up with somebody at the lab and said, hey, I want to do this for my patient. I'm already doing single implants. Implants to me is not scary, but doing all of them at one time and trying to restore it, a little bit more scary. So I was able to partner with the lab a lot more and have them chairside with me for appointment number 1, appointment number 2, patient number 1, patient number 2. And then that just kept flowing. And I was like, this is fun. I don't want to just do this once a month. I think I want to do this all the time. And that's kind of where the switch flipped, where patient 4, I didn't do patient 4 just because it was patient 4. To me this is the beginning of me doing it for the rest of my career. I didn't want to just do it one more time the next month. Let me just add one more per month. I was like, I want to do like 8 a month, every month, forever. So those first 4, there was some nerves. There was some, why this brand over that brand? Why an angled MUA over a straight MUA? Why a prosthetic prototype that's made out of a 3D printed material versus a PMMA? There was so many questions that I was like, dang, this is actually more intense than dental school. Like there's a lot going into this. So that's what a case 1 through 5 had its own learnings. And then case 6 through 20 had a whole new set of issues and learning, and 21 to 100 had a whole new thing. And that's why I had to partner with somebody. I can't learn this from classes and books and YouTube and Instagram. At some point, you have to partner with someone who's done 100 or 1,000 more than you have.
How many cases a month are you guys doing right now?
Jeff, what do you think you're doing a month?
I do about 15 arches a month.
Got it.
Yeah, I would say the goal would be 8 for me, but I find myself doing anywhere from 5 to 6 a month.
Got it. And then do you how do you guys getting those opportunities? Because that's the next thing. So people get prepared. They say, okay, we want to do this, and then you got to have people to do the treatment. So, Dr. Lynch, let's start with you. How are you attracting the patients to your offices?
I do a lot through social media. I've got a social media guy who continually puts out excellent stuff that we give them. We take lots of great photographs and we do stories, and that doesn't necessarily generate direct leads, but it definitely allows people to see you over and over again. Yeah. And then working through Dental Implant Machine is our main source. I also focus all of my marketing efforts to my Dental Implant Machine landing page. We utilize Implant Machine's, what do they call it? Organic Rankings Machine on my home website. We work really hard on our website SEO. So we get a lot of people coming to the website. The name of my general practice is McKinneyDentist.com. Mm-hmm. So if you type anything about McKinney or dentists or my name, things are going to pop up there. And so people are coming through there. There's also a pretty significant word of mouth part of this now, where I've been doing it long enough. And, we've got over 1,500 4.9 reviews on Google, and that's a big part of it.
Yeah, so that's huge. Google reviews is really, really important. I mean, that's just to even get your name in the game. You gotta have Google reviews. Roughly, how much are you spending on like ad budget a month? And then, do you know what your cost per start is with what you're doing?
I'm going to say I probably spend about $15,000 a month, and I do not have that specific metric.
Perfect. Okay, and then Dr. Jacob, how about you? What are you doing for marketing? I know you're real active on Instagram. Anything else that you're doing to track the 4 or 5 cases that you're doing a month?
Yeah, so some of our patients are actually coming from our chair, like in the hygiene rooms. My 2 partners are seeing patients on a regular basis, and what would have been a upper and lower denture that we would have talked to the patient about a $5,000 or $6,000 or $7,000 denture case. We're no longer thinking that way. We used to think that way because that's what our skill set allowed us to do. So now my partners and my hygiene team is saying, I think this is a full arch case. Hey, have you ever considered permanent solutions to this situation? So what used to be a denture a month is now an arch a month because our brains have changed in the office. I'll share that the word of mouth for me isn't as much as it would be for Jeff, since I've been doing it for a less amount of time. But dude, all it takes is one patient that has a big mouth, that has a big personality, that you just have to ask them, hey man, would you just be willing to share your story at work? Or would you be able to jump on my Instagram? And they're telling people at church, they're telling people at their local meetings, at their gym, at their CrossFit. The social media thing has not generated a ton of patients. Like Jeff said, it's usually not that the patients are literally responding via DM saying, I'm interested, where do I spend my $50K? But what it has done is when patients do step in the building and do a consult with me, when they go home and they show their husband or wife our Instagram page, there's a sense of credibility. Like, this guy isn't doing his first case. Like, babe, look at this this guy. He does this all the time. This is his thing. Whereas if I didn't have that Instagram, it would be like, I wonder if he's done any. He doesn't even look like he's 37. Like, he's a young dude. There's no way he's done a lot of these. So my Instagram to me is almost a credibility. It's like my resume.
I follow what you're saying. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So are you spending any money on marketing for the implant cases you're getting now, or no?
Yeah, I do a little bit less than Jeff is doing, which now makes me wonder if that's why I'm not getting as many leads. But I spend anywhere from 12 to 14K as well. And but my schedule allows for that, and I know that he's dedicated. His whole month is dedicated to full arch implant patients. So I'm still teaching some classes here and there. I'm trying to mentor my doctors in my practice. So I'm not ready for 15 arches a month, if I'm being honest. My schedule can't handle it.
Do you know what your cost per start is? Go ahead.
I was going to say, I want to add something to what Jake said as far as the partners go. I've got 4 partners here, and a lot of my leads end up not being full arch candidates. And I've got a partner that is focused on Invisalign. Marvin Berlin, one of my other partners, is a cosmetic genius. And so I have a lot of people that come in that aren't terminal, that I pass over to them, and we'll have, maybe you need an implant or two. Get Callison, my partner, to straighten them out. Marvin will put veneers on them. So I'm feeding my general practice, and when Marvin has a cosmetic patient that is terminal, they come over to me as well. So we have a free flow of patients here. Occasionally we'll get one that comes through hygiene as a new patient that's terminal, and it'll come over this way. We just have a free flow within the partnership that, we're each helping each other out.
That's great. How do you manage the leads when they come in? Are you using a CRM of some sort, or how do you guys manage the patients going through the life cycle? Because the buying cycle for a full arch case is totally different than the GP, where you're trying to just get the patients to come back to their hygiene appointment.
Yeah, that's really what Dental Implant Machine is and provides. They've got a dashboard in the CRM component of it. Excuse me. So once they get in there, I've got a dedicated staff member. We call them the setter. She reaches out. She makes contact either by phone, text, or email that the program has within it, and continues to make contact with them. And her main goal is to set these people up for consultations. Once they come in for the consultation, then I've got a treatment coordinator that goes through the consult with me, and she honestly does most of the work at that point.
Yeah, most people don't realize we've actually measured this. It takes, for every $5,000 of marketing budget, if it's effective marketing budget, you're going to have 2 hours a day of lead nurturing, because these patients aren't going to just come in, right? If you're marketing for them, obviously the patient referrals is different because it's somebody the referrals nurturing them in for you. So that, I think that's a big takeaway, is that you got to have somebody there nurturing those leads. Otherwise, you're just going to get in trouble. And then so you have a dashboard that you're working through, so you can see how many leads came in, how many, where they're at in the process. And then do you have a process for if they don't accept treatment right away? Is there somebody, is it the same person that's working with them all the way through?
Yeah, my closer is the one who continues to do the follow-up. Once they've been in and made contact with her, she's the one who builds the relationship with them, and she'll be the one who follows up with them. One of our goals, if they don't, the reality is not accepting treatment is almost always financial. It's hardly ever that they don't want it. They're really wanting to do it, but they can't. And so what we try to do is keep them in contact by getting them into our hygiene program, because if they're trying to straighten out the financial component of their life, or they're waiting for something else to happen, they're going to be better off, and they'll have a better chance of making it longer if they're able to keep them clean and, manage things, maybe take out a couple bad teeth, give them some kind of a temporary solution. But we just keep them in contact and keep them a part of the family. And that's a whole lot easier than trying to keep them and get back in touch with them by phone or email or any of those types of methods.
Got it. And Dr. Jacob, what about for you? What are you using to manage these patients? Because I know the life cycle is a little bit different for the GP side.
We also use a dashboard to be able to keep track of the patient. But as far as how we're following up, it's kind of a combination. Sometimes if I could just feel that patient wanted it and they literally were on the fence, it was just about a spouse conversation, I'll call the patient myself. Hey, man, it was a pleasure meeting you today. I look forward to getting to know you more and doing your treatment. Did you have any questions for me that I didn't answer? That call happens sometimes. The next day call happens sometimes. And then I ask my team to call them at the 2-week mark and just say, hey, were there any other last questions I can answer for you? You look like you were really ready for this, that you needed to get some financial questions answered. Were you able to get those questions answered? And if we get like a strong, like, hey guys, I can't afford this, please don't bother me about it. Yeah. We are very, very low pressure. Dude, you don't have to worry about it. We won't bug you when you're ready. Call us. So we do nurture it and follow up. And the dashboard is a nice way to move people up. Different websites do different things. I've used
what kind of dashboard do you use? Is there a particular one that you use?
This one is actually through Implant Machine as well, but I've used another one called Royal Smiles. I've worked with another one that had a dashboard, and it's simply like an Excel sheet. It's patient was in column 1, that means they're starting. Column 2 means you followed up. Column 3 means that they're moving forward with treatment. And from that, you can look up metrics. You asked the question earlier, like how much per
cost per start.
And it shows like we spent, let's say, $14K in marketing. How much does it cost us? I've seen a breakdown from anywhere from $500 to $2,000 before. Just depends on what kind of month we're having and how much did we nurture those contacts. Or, you know this, Jeff knows this, sometimes it's just luck, man. Sometimes you just have a month where everybody said yes, and then the next month everybody said no, I can't make it happen.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. I think it's important for people to understand, the cost per start, you're going to be, first of all, you have to be able to weed out patient referrals versus marketing. A lot of people struggle with that. If you can't delineate between those two, then it's going to throw your numbers all over the place, because you might have somebody like Dr. Lynch who's getting, 10 patient referrals and then 5 from marketing. And then someone like you, Dr. Jacob, because you're newer, not going to be getting as many referrals. Maybe you're getting more from marketing or vice versa. And so being able to delineate the difference between marketing and patient referrals is huge. And then being able to tie an actual number to it, that it costs me $1,000 or $2,000 every time to get a start. That's really helpful to be able to pin that all together. And I've just seen a lot of success from that. So that kind of leads me into my next question. Where do you guys see you guys taking the next step for you guys? So people are listening to this and they're either one, thinking about adding a full arch to their practices, or they're already doing it, but they're just not doing it to the level that they want. For you guys, what's the next step, like where you're planning on taking it? Are you doing more cases yourself, adding more doctors, adding more locations? What do you guys see in the future? I'll start with you, Dr. Lynch.
Well, like I said, I'm the leader of the Esteem brand within Heartland. I'm fortunate to get to work with guys like Jake, and we're growing both within Heartland, and we're also looking for other full arch doctors outside who are wanting to join a collaboration of people that are like-minded. That we've got, there's a ton of advantages for being within Heartland. And
so, do you have to be part of Heartland to use the Esteem, or can I be a standalone practice and use Esteem still?
No, Esteem is a brand within Heartland itself. So to be part of our group, is only for Heartland affiliates.
Got it. Okay.
But if you want to talk a little bit about that, my practice at McKinney Dentist, when we affiliated back in 2008, there were 3.5 of us. We had one guy working 2 days and another 3 of us full time, and we were very productive. I don't want to throw around any numbers, but we produced more than we would be able to bring somebody in and would be able to afford to buy us out when it came time to retire. So we'd met Rick Workman. We had talked with them. We knew that at the time and the things that we were doing, we'd actually be able to help a lot of doctors within the brand, within Heartland. And they had things that they could offer to help us. So we affiliated, and without question, that's one of the tipping points in our careers. That was one of the best business moves we've ever made, because it's allowed us to become better businessmen. I mentioned clinical, operational, and business, and they really helped us on the business side of the practice. They've given us opportunities. They've exposed us to other doctors to where we now have got 3 excellent young doctors working with us. Needless to say, we sold the practice way back when. So, bird in the hand, we took care of that at that point. I'm 59 now, so I'm on this countdown to 60. My team just in our last huddle said they expect me not to retire till I'm 95. I think that's a little bit of an erroneous estimate, but the reality of it is when I'm ready to hang it up, I'm clinically at least, what I'm going to continue doing is helping manage and grow the Esteem brand, so I can still have an effect for all these patients out there, but just do it indirectly by helping these other doctors continue to grow.
That's awesome. How about you, Dr. Berger?
Well, I'll share, to answer the question about like where I plan on taking it, is I would love to get to a point where that's the only type of dentistry I do, which is a mindset shift. You almost have to be willing to give away your patients that don't need this type of dentistry to your partners. So that's one shift I've made, and I'm trying to make even more solidified. I hope to do 8 to 10 arches a month every month, as long as I am doing dentistry. For the doctors out there who want to start doing it or want to dabble in it, or you're already doing it, but you're also trying to balance it, I would say the thing that makes the biggest difference for me, and I had to hear it from somebody like Jeff Lynch, is, do you really want to do this? Because if you do, you almost have to go all in on it. This isn't a part-time gig. And I think the best way to think of it is, if I needed a full arch done on me, do I want a dentist who does one a month and dabbles in it? Or do I want someone who has dedicated their entire craft specifically to that type of dentistry? So I think that's where I'm going. Well, I know that's where I'm going to go with my mission and vision, is like all in. That's all I do. If you want a root canal done, I'm not the right guy for you. If you want a smile makeover with veneers, I'm not the right guy for you. But I do want to be known in 10 years as the right person to go to get full arch implants. And if you don't want to go all in, then I don't really know how you would have a ton of success. I feel like you'd always be that guy on the bench on a basketball team that doesn't really get put in the game. It's like, dude, you didn't dedicate your everything to this craft. Why would you get 10, 15 patients a month? You've only given a little bit of your marketing. You've only given it a little bit of your attention.
Yeah, well, here's $1,000. Give me 10 implant cases to do, right? Yeah, I've experienced that. Yeah, and I love this about your personality, Dr. Berger, is that I know you're all in. And I was reading your bio too, Dr. Lynch, that you push yourself every single day in your workouts and in every other area of your life. So this is not the hardest thing that you're doing every day. And I love that about both of you guys.
Well, I'll share, man, just to throw a quick plug in about how our day has gone and why I'm even here in his office is, one, he invited me, but two, there's courses out there, there's Instagram out there to learn and to watch, but to actually jeopardize a full day in the practice or sacrifice a full day in the office to come watch another dentist make money and do what they love to do was one of the biggest things I could do for myself. But he welcomed it. And that means he has to teach while doing. He had a call this morning from 7 to 8 with another doctor who wants to get better. Then he did 2 arches. Then he had a team meeting for 2 hours. Now we're doing a podcast. So I know the actual arch was not the hardest part of his day. I mean, it's keeping a voice and drinking enough water to still be able to talk at 6 o'clock at night. So those are the type of people that I think will succeed in the full arch realm. Just like those are the type of people that would succeed in like the veneer realm. If that's all they wanted to do, it's somebody who goes all in and doesn't wake up late and walk into huddle late and like, oh, what kind of dentistry are we doing today? Is it my day off yet? Like, dude, you're not going to kill it. You'll always be mediocre. And that's cool.
And everything.
Some people want that.
Yep, 100%. Well, closing thoughts, Dr. Jeff, why don't you shut us down? If all on 4 or full arch or Esteem doctors out there are listening in the whole world, right? And they're all listening and you have one thing to tell them, what would you share with them?
Deep question, man. Along the lines of what Jake was saying, there's a huge value in repetitions. You got to get reps in. And I read the other day in a book, the difference between an amateur and a professional. And historically, an amateur has been known for doing it just for the love of the game or whatever it is you're doing. But the reality is an amateur doesn't love it enough to be a professional. You look at somebody like Michael Jordan, he practiced the basics and the skills and he shot after shot and dribble. And so, you've got to learn the basics. You've got to love it enough. You've got to want it enough to do whatever it takes. You've got to get up early. You've got to stay late. You've got to focus. You've got to fight through the difficulties. You can't quit. You can never quit. If the quitter in your head starts talking to you, you got to tell it to shut up. You're going to have to accept the fact that things aren't always going to go right. Learn from them. Be grateful that things happen like that you can get better. And just keep on trugging towards your vision, man. You got to have a clear vision. And you cannot have quit in your mindset. So it's all in the mindset.
I can see why you and Dr. Berger get along so well. Cause that's like, you should listen to our first podcast. Cause we went into this whole mentality thing. It was really, really good. So awesome. Thanks. I really appreciate you guys coming on, sharing this. I've learned a lot. This really helped me understand several things. And I love what you guys are doing and what you're building. And hopefully that Esteem brand continues to take off. That's pretty exciting.
Hey, Gary, I was going to share one last thought, man. While you asked him what is one thing he would say to an Esteem group if he had the chance to say like a parting word to them. If I was about to hang up my retirement jersey and I could say one thing, honestly, it would be making sure you know why you want to get into this. And if you want to get into it because you heard it makes a lot of money, or if you heard about it, like you want to get into it because it's the sexy thing to do, you heard about it because it gives you less work, or you can make more money with less days, then your team's not going to want to get the nurturing in and the leads in. But if they know you want to do it to change lives, then you'll get the leads. So I think that would be my thing, is to check your why. And if your why is money, or if your why is because it's the sexy, cool thing to do next, then maybe pick a different thing, because this requires like a life-changing mindset. So that would be the last thing I would say to
That's
somebody.
so good. So much wisdom, so much help today, guys. You guys went really into the weeds, and I think not only just how to do implants, but how to treat your team, how to get people in, and that's all part of success. So thank you so much for diving into all of that and all components of it. It's not just one part; it's the full enchilada.
Yeah, man. Thanks, Gary, for having us, man.
Yeah,
Thanks so
appreciate
much.
the opportunity to talk.